Alright, welcome everybody. It is time to do another Jakks Pacific King of the Monsters review. This time, we finished the Rodan stuff, so last time we finished the 6-inch Rodan and then the Godzilla Rodan playset. Now we're going to be looking at, I believe this is the 6-inch King Ghidorah, and then after we'll be looking at the King Ghidorah and Godzilla playset, and then Mothra and Godzilla, and then the giant 12-inch Godzilla. So, we're nearly the end. We still got a couple more left. So once again, this is sponsored by Jakks Pacific, the same company that made some sick Apex figures. Thank you so much for the endorsements, and be sure to check them out. So, without further ado, let's see King Ghidorah. Here we go. This time it is not in a plastic bag, unlike Rodan from last time. But yeah, let's take a look at this Ghidorah. Alright, let's take a look at this box. Now, one problem I have with these Jakks Pacific boxes is that it seems so excessive, even though it looks nice. It's just why? Why is it such a big box for a figure that's like that big? And looking at Playmates, whose packaging is much simpler and you actually get to interact with the figure even when it's in the package. This is just enclosed and this is just completely encased within the box. They've done this with Apex as well. I really like Jakks' way of like displaying the product through a plastic case. But first and foremost, that's killing the turtles. Secondly, this box just seems way too big to be just, yeah, you can simplify the packaging in terms of material and the production cost. So, yeah, I don't know, it seems a bit excessive. Now, what I want to do instead, I want to see if the Rodan box is the same size. It looks like it is. Yep, looks like it is. It's the exact same size. Hopefully the figures are in the same size, because obviously Ghidorah is much bigger than Rodan. So, we're about to find out. But yeah, the looks like the Rodan's box is also the same size as the Ghidorah box. So with that being said, let's take a look at the Ghidorah box. So here we go, Godzilla King of the Monsters. You got a nice photo of Godzilla, which they seem to be just slapping on every single Jakks Pacific toy Godzilla product. So here's that. Unlike Rodan, I had a broken piece, like a giant hole on this part here. Fortunately for Ghidorah here, it's not the case. 6-inch articulating figure with 15.24 centimeters, 10 pieces. Godzilla King of the Monsters logo right there. Got the nice figure on a display in there. Argojet and Destructible City included. King Ghidorah, Jakks logo right there. Nothing at the bottom. And on the side of the box, there's the 6-inch Rodan, which we've done. Be sure to check that video. I think that was the first King of the Monsters video that we did. So there's that. Here's the back. A very nice photo of Ghidorah right there. Articulating figure. Some more logos down here. And then the movie description right here, which I'm not gonna bother read. If you want to read it, then pause the video to do it. But there we go. Yeah, so that being said, that's pretty much it for the 3-headed demon. So let's take him out of this box and see what he looks like. Snipping time. Am I excited? Of course I am. Oh boy. Oh, I was hoping to keep this in good condition, but it looks like I have no choice but to rip open the plastic in order to get the tails out, because it looks like the tails are stuck in that plastic and there's absolutely no way to get it out without ripping apart the plastic. And that looks like, unfortunately, that looks like what I gotta do to get it out. So, again, why I don't appreciate Jakks Pacific packaging is I like to keep my boxes in good condition no matter what the product, Lego or non-Lego. And I was forced to rip the plastic part a bit and do some damage to the backdrop because of the damn tails. Another reason why I don't like it. You should have just tied this with a bunch of stringers. And this is why Playmates is so much easier. I can actually conserve the packaging Jakks, you are forced to destroy or damage your packaging, and I don't like that. It just makes me sick. Can I just say that I hate the tails with a passion. The tails are the worst parts of this figure. They were a pain to get out of the packaging, and they were a pain to apply onto the figure itself. Like, I sat there for like 10 minutes just trying to jam it in, and I do think the best tactic would probably be the hair dryer, but these are softer plastics unlike the Playmates figures, so I don't really recommend softening soft plastic. But my goodness, these damn tails, because Ghidorah has 2 tails, it's just, oh, that took me so long just to apply both in. Anyways, my hands hurt, but we got a review to shoot, so let's keep going. So first things first, just like the 6-inch Rodan, it comes with an Argo Jet as well as an Osprey. Again, these are made out of soft, very rubbery plastic. So here they are, and again, they're not going to really serve much except to be a lost toy in your toy drawer, as these are so small and I can see these being lost almost immediately. So these, in my opinion, are just irrelevant and not any point. However, I do like the buildings they have here. They have the same thing for the 6-inch Rodan as well, which they kind of like Jenga. You can create your own city destruction of these monsters. So like, knock them over, knock that over. Rawr, Ghidorah, run. Yeah, so that's pretty nice. I do like the concept, but again, it feels a bit extra. So here's one of these building thingies, and then here's another one of these collapsible buildings. Yeah, for that extra city destruction, if you will. So that out of the way, let's take a look at the meat of the burger, of course, which is the Ghidorah himself. Now, of course, Ghidorah is a 3-headed dragon, as you can see, and this is an upscaled version of the Ghidorah and Godzilla playset, which I don't have yet, so can't really do that in terms of comparing. However, what I can compare him with is this version of Ghidorah that I have. This is the Bandai 2019 soft plastic Ghidorah, one of my all-time favorite figures of Ghidorah. But let's see him side by side with the Jakks Pacific. Yeah, you literally can't compete with that. Bandai's wins. Top quality right there. There is absolutely 100% certainty that Jakks is kind of lacking here, and of course, Bandai is much more expensive, but yeah, there we go. That's in terms of the size, I believe the Bandai is slightly bigger, so there is that. Of course, I did my review on the Bandai Ghidorah, which you can check out yourself later on. It's available on my channel. And then the other 6-inch figure for the King of the Monsters line, of course, is Rodan, the very first King of Monsters toy that I did. Let's see what it looks like next to Ghidorah. Yeah, just as I expected. Not really in scale. Rodan's much smaller than Ghidorah, after Ghidorah is one of the largest kaiju ever. So, yeah, not accurate. I mean, these are both 6-inch figures, so there you go. So, there's that. And then, one more little comparison, because why not? This is my only 3-inch Godzilla at the moment. Still waiting for the other playsets, which have not arrived yet. Let's see how big he is. Ah, no, see, now that's just not fair. Godzilla is just so tiny compared to Ghidorah. Which is why like a bigger size, slightly bigger Godzilla would make more sense against this Ghidorah, because that's not right. That's not right. Alright, so let's look at the figures. So again, soft plastic, absolutely hate the tail. You can see right here. Took me so long to jam it in, and even so now I don't think it's fully in just by looking at it. The color seems really dark, whereas I'm looking at the Bandai, it's like a lighter gold paint, but then this is like a black, darkish gold paint. Now I'm not quite sure which is more lore accurate. I think Ghidorah is supposed to be like this, so I think that is fine. But however, what I do not like is the consistency of the wings. Because look, this side is loose, this side is like kind of sturdy. It's the same problem with Rodan, and it's the same wings too. But the good thing about this one is because the joints are moved up almost like the elbow, this thing can stand. I've seen the 3-inch Ghidorah not being able to stand because the wings are just too big and it's just very front heavy. However, I think this is a nice balance here, which actually keeps the figure sturdy, and that is really, really important in a figure like this, to keep the figure sturdy. Wings is what you expect. Really, really nice paint job. Feet, articulation. Feet seems a little bit tiny. I'm pretty sure the feet are much bigger than that. But there's that. And then of course, Ghidorah has no hands, so he relies on combating with his electricity beams, which comes out of his head, and then his heads in general. So, yes, of course, he has 3 heads, and do they have articulation? Yes, they all have articulation, so you can kind of strike different poses, if you will. This one is Kevin. And as you can see, you can pry this baby right off. Back then, when these toys were out, we didn't know the purpose of it, but turns out it was a spoiler, because in the movie, Godzilla does rip off Kevin's head. Right here. And the point of that is, well, yeah, that's what he did in the movie, and then later on, the terrorist group bought Kevin's head, which we then see in Godzilla vs. Kong, became Mechagodzilla. So, yeah, Mechagodzilla is Ghidorah. I spoiled the movie. Ha 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 ha. What are you gonna do now? So, yeah. Didn't know this toy had the play feature of this toy, which worked for the spoilers. Yeah, because you can actually recreate the scenario of Godzilla ripping off Kevin's head. So, there's that. As for the other two, much more sturdy articulation, especially the middle head. I don't know these other 2 heads. I only know this guy's called Kevin because the internet keeps calling him Kevin. So, there's that. Yeah, so I mean, it's good because the Bandai figure that you can't literally has 0 articulation. There's nothing you could do. What Jakks here, at least they have exceeded here, is, yeah, the articulation wise. I'm glad there's articulation in the heads, because that would suck if the heads don't have a playability. And that's good. So, yeah. I guess the only really main issue that really pisses me off is the tail. Everything else is fine. I'm just glad this figure can stand. I'm not looking forward to seeing the 3-inch one, because I know for a fact that thing can't stand. So if you're going to display this, certainly this will sit well on the shelf. I wouldn't say this would be one you want to hang on the ceiling to fly, because, well, it's actually quite heavy. So you're going to have to find some really strong string, or just sit him on the shelf like that. Or the heads have a pretty decent paint job, which actually I just realized I haven't shown you yet. Here's the paint job on the heads, which are okay. It's tolerable. It's at a tolerable level, so I think that is okay. What I still don't like, though, is just the imbalance of the tail, and then the imbalance of the wings. Like, one part, it's the same problem with Rodan. They just kept it here. The buildings are nice. Again, the vehicles here, I don't care about it whatsoever. So there's that. But apart from that, yeah, no, like, this is not a bad Ghidorah as a kid's toy. Definitely it's not bad. But as a collector, if you're a hardcore Godzilla collector, don't get this Ghidorah. Seriously, don't get this Ghidorah. Do what I did and get this, the Bandai 2019 Ghidorah. Now that's a true collector's figure. That is like I said, it's a really good Ghidorah figure. And I'm not trashing on this one. This one isn't bad. It isn't the worst, but it isn't good. So, yeah. I honestly would think just treat this as a kid's toy. Get it for your kid. Don't get it if you're a collector. I would just say avoid this and get some better Ghidorahs out there. And to be quite honest, Jakks has just been disappointing me a lot lately. I just think Playmates is just so much better in so many ways, just in terms of the quality. Like, yeah, so my final score for this is going to be a 6 out of 10. Just, yeah, this is the quote-unquote better Ghidorah from the Jakks Pacific line, but I think there are some better Ghidorah products out there instead of stuff like this from Jakks. But it's not bad, it's not terrible, but it's also not good. So that's what I'm gonna say. So apart from the long and treacherous unboxing experience and the tail inserting experience, overall, yeah, this figure has some playability to it. So I look forward to hear what you guys think, though, so let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to check out my other King of Monsters reviews, as well as the Playmates Godzilla vs. Kong toys, be sure to check them out. They are available on the channel. And that is it for this one. This is the 6-inch King Ghidorah. We will see you all in the next one. Bye for now.